We're back to the Neil Haley Show, and this is always excited to work with our good friends over at LegalSoft. We've been interviewing some amazing law firms with their law firm leaders that have been telling tremendous stories. And we've had the founder of LegalSoft, Hamid, on many times. And now our guest today is the marketing director for LegalSoft, Whitley Crawford. Whitley, thanks for stopping by. How are you?
I'm doing good. And how are you doing?
Fantastic. So we're going to talk today about lean networks. What is lean networks, by the way?
Yeah, so Lean Networks is a service that we're offering to medical providers and attorneys so that are able to connect and better provide services for their customers and clients that work off lean compensation. I'm sorry, that need lean compensation. And so to be more specific, I know some issues that attorneys they have is whenever they do have clients and they might have a hard time finding a medical provider that works on lean. And so that's what this website does. It provides a network for them to connect into so they can find providers either by zip code specifics or by, of course, specialties. So they're able really just to find the right services for their clients.
So kind of break this down a little bit more even before we go into who can join this network. Kind of give me the step-by-step of how this works. Like a kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so the people that can join this network is, of course, the medical providers that work on lean. And so whenever someone does join into our network, specifically a medical provider, we verify that they do work on lean compensation, and then they're in our network. And then attorneys are able to access our network by truly just searching the medical providers that have been vetted and verified from our side, so that they're able to truly just search location specific to the medical providers that work on lean.
And finding those medical providers is very, very important, isn't it, in the process?
It
Yeah.
it is because I know because we understand that sometimes attorneys can lose clients or even it's just a big hassle trying to find different medical providers specifically that work on lean compensations, and it's such a niche thing working on lean. And so finding medical providers that are also in that specific specialty that their client needs is truly, it's time consuming. And especially if a lawyer is trying to work out of state or anything that's really not in their local vicinity, then they need a network to plug into so they're able to help their client, so they're able to help move their case along. And so that's how this really does solve that problem of just trying to find the right medical providers.
And when you think about lawyers, they always need to be working with the medical providers, specifically if it's their type of, service that they provide. That just you need to have that network of doctors to help you through the process, right?
Yeah, you do. It can be disheartening and exhausting, especially if you are a client and you know that you need to talk to a lawyer first, or you just don't really know where to go, but knowing that you're going to a lawyer that does know how to help you to the next steps, that can really bring just really a breath of fresh air and just some relief to the next steps of making sure that you're going to somebody that is able to help you, that you do not have to really worry about, that really works on this compensation that really works on the lean compensation, so that the clients are worried about getting better and they're worried about the case and they're not worried about going to providers out of different networks. And just finding a doctor in general can be a whole thing. And so finding a doctor working on lean, and then also one that has a relationship with the lawyer or knows your lawyer that you're working with, it can be a burdening task. And so that's why we really created this, is because we saw the problem and we really wanted to make it easier.
Networking is the best way, I think, to create relationships and do business together. Without networking, it's not done. We can always use social media. We always can use these specific places as a top of funnel. But when we get into a networking event or someone's a guest on a podcast or something else in networking, it moves so much more quickly. And have a network that you can network together is such important. Who can join this network and how can they become a member?
Yes. And so the people that can join this network are basically, of course, doctors who work on lean compensation. And of course, we vet them in making sure that they do work on lean and just making sure that the right providers are in our database. And then also the attorneys, they're able to join. And so it's mainly just the medical providers and the attorneys, and then also expanding out to anybody else that really does work with lien compensation. Yeah.
Is this targeted for California or nationwide?
This is nationwide.
Wow.
I know. And so right now we have a database of over 100,000 attorneys and medical providers, and they're not just in California. Of course, they're over each state, all over the nation. And that's why it helps really with the problem of if a lawyer is helping a client maybe in a different area that they're not aware of that area or the network that's there, then that's what would really help close that gap.
You think it's what's important about this network now that each, if they're members of this, they really want to connect with each other. Sometimes it's not always the best fun thing to go reach out to somebody without that relationship started, right? So that's another part of what Lean Network brings, is building relationships between the doctor and the lawyer.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. How does Lean Network improve case management process?
And so the ways that we improve it is we limit the back and forth, because of course, whenever a client goes to a doctor or a medical provider, then there's medical information, medical forms back and forth to see what step they're on. Do we need to go to a specific specialist? And sometimes the lawyers have to call the doctors and wait on hold times, and just back and forth can be tedious. And so with the Lean Networks platform, we have it. And so you're able to put all the case information, all the files in one place. And so it limits the back and forth. You can leave comments and notes in the platform, and that's the best way to talk between the attorney and the medical provider. So it limits all the phone calls, all the back and forth, asking, did you upload this file? Where is this file? It saves time and hassle. No more chasing it all the time. So yeah.
How so that's huge, because I think that what it brings to the table is in that when is the launch date? Because it sounds so amazing for doctors and lawyers to connect to each other.
Yeah. And so right now we're in our early access phase. So it's just open to just a closed group, because we're getting their feedback, and then we're also seeing how they're really using the platform. So we're able to adapt and change and really make this tool the best tool and a very useful tool for the attorneys and the medical providers. And right now, the actual launch date is going to really depend on the feedback that we're getting and the updates, so that we can really fine tune this tool to get out to everybody.
So let's talk about some of the special features of this web application.
Yes. And so one thing that I mentioned earlier is the file upload, because like I said, no one likes the back and forth. And so having it so we're able to upload the files, and then also, like I said, and like we mentioned before, it's nationwide. And so since it is nationwide, you're able to search by zip codes. And that's how you're able to find these medical providers on Lean. So looking by the zip codes, and then also looking by the specialties as well, because if somebody in your area or in an area that you don't know has a shoulder issue and you're looking for a specific doctor, and the only doctor you maybe know in that state is, I don't know, a knee doctor, that's not helpful. And so we also able to narrow down to specialties as well. And then it's referral based. So if you do have your own network, as if an attorney has their own network of medical providers that do work on Lean, then they're able to plug in their network and plug in the medical providers that they have. And then after it's verified, we're able to just truly, your network's plugged in. And so it's even easier for you to upload the cases to the relationships that you already have with your medical providers as an attorney, which is great. And then you're able to, of course, find new members depending on the zip code. And it's truly good for the established network that you have, and then also growing your own network.
Yeah, and you talk about specifically enough, you grow your own network. The security of this, right? If you're going back and forth in email and sending files or having conversations that could be hacked, having an ability to have a web application that's secure and safe is very important in networking, right?
Yes, and that's why we're working on making sure that everything's HIPAA compliant and making sure the security is definitely there, because that is truly important. That's one of the most important things that we're working on.
And you hear horror stories from lawyers and doctors, right, about HIPAA compliance and how hard it is to really communicate, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so it is an obstacle that everyone really goes through, but we're definitely working on it. And it's going to be definitely one of the features that whenever we're ready to go, that's going to be the first thing checked off. That's going to be not a worry.
Okay. All right. So let's what is the cost to become a member? It sounds so great.
Yeah. And so the best thing for attorneys, it's completely free. They don't pay
Mm,
anything. I know. And then for medical providers that work on lien, it's only $4.95 a month. And so it's a subscription. And that's of course to just have clients referred directly to you. You're getting cases, you're getting people that need your services at this moment directly to you. And it's just for that low price of $4.95.
that's fantastic because to be able to do something like that and have the ability, it's fantastic. How does the referral process work within Lean Network platform?
Yeah, and so the referral process works in a couple of ways. Is if you're just looking through the platform itself, then you're able to truly just you see the person that's in your network and you're able to truly just send it off to whoever you need. And then it's truly just a click of the button and just a send that way. And that's what the feature is so far. And we're looking to see the other extra added features that would be helpful as well. But it's truly right now just an easy click of a button.
That's awesome. And the
Yeah.
best place people can go find that information now, because you said it's only open to up to certain people. So can they kind of find out information now before the full launch comes of Lean Networks? Mhm.
Of course. So they can look us up at leannetworks.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And we're growing there just to spread our name out there. And then once our platform's open for everyone, then come on and register. We're excited to have you.
Absolutely. And it's again, a great place to network doctors and lawyers to make sure for Lean Networks. And what a great service that was needed to be developed. So fantastic.